Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
I can hear you.
Thank you. It's good to see you all. All right. We'll get started in a couple of minutes. All right, you should be able to see my screen. Can I have an indication you can see my screen?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can see your screen.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, folks, it's 10 o'clock. We'll get started here. I really do appreciate you coming. I am recording this session and I will post this after the class as well. It'll probably be available in a couple of hours after the class needs to, it needs to process and do some other things, but eventually it'll be up there for you. All right. So once again, yes, I appreciate you coming. Now, these Zoom sessions are optional. The Zoom sessions themselves have schedules, and you can see when they are scheduled. And what I've tried to do here is I've tried to arrange it so that I've made these Zoom sessions just before the due date. So there are times, for example, we won't have a Zoom session, and that would be like on September 11th, for example. That's because that's a two-week gap there between due dates. That's for Module 5. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't ask me for help during that time. Of course you can, but it'll be individual help. I'd really like everybody to mute, please. I think there's some background noise here or an echo or something.
Oh.
You can unmute if you need to ask me questions, but that's better. Thank you. All right, so I figured that a couple of days before the due date would be the best time to do it because traditionally that's when students do tend to do most of their work, is kind of closer to the due date. But as I said, if you need help, you can always contact me in the interim.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'd really like you all to mute, please, while I'm talking. Melissa, Good mute, please. Thanks. All right,
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay,
Can you,
sorry.
yeah, can you mute, please?
Yes, I was trying to find the button.
Okay. Cheers. Thanks a lot. All right. So how to contact me. You've got my cell phone number here, and you can call that cell phone number anytime during my office hours, and my office hours are here under the My Office Hours link. I'm serious about this. That is my cell phone number. You can call me on it during those times. Now, if I don't answer, please leave a message. It could be that I'm on the phone with somebody else, but I will get back to you. The required textbook is really just a survival guide, which you can download and print out if you want. You might even be able to get it from the bookstore, and they may even send it to you. So that's a possibility too. But in any case, it's free if you print it out. Some people don't even print it out. They just read it off the screen, or they just take advantage of the soft chalks, which is the same material anyway. I'll tell you more about soft chalks in a minute. All right, what have we got? Attendance policy. Well, as far as attendance goes, I really just need to make sure you do one graded exercise during this first couple of weeks. You really had to do it the first week because you got stuff due on Sunday. So if you don't do stuff today or during this first week, then you're going to put yourself at a real disadvantage anyway. But I do need you to have some sort of something graded so that I can mark you down for attendance.
Hello, Professor.
Yes. Yes.
For contacting you, can we text that number during office hours as well?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, you could text me if you like as well. Yeah, generally speaking, I can solve most problems over the phone most of the time. But if I can't, then we can always set up a Zoom session and I can draw stuff on the screen for you and we can get things sorted that way. But most of the time, a phone call is often all it needs to get something sorted. Let's see, if you want to, you can buy the Zoomdal textbook, but if you were, oh, there we go, Survey, what about text? There's a Zoomdal textbook you can get if you want to, but it is optional. It's a secondary reference. The way you would use it would be to look up any topics that you wanted more information on in the index. I recommend getting an earlier version of it. You can probably pick one up for $20 from this place that's named after a very long river in South America. I'm not going to say the name. I can't, but I think you could probably figure it out.
Why can't you say Amazon?
Well, you said it. I can't say it because I'm not supposed to say anything that goes against the bookstore.
Gotcha.
But anyway, yeah, you can go there and grab one for $20. I mean, guys, that's not unreasonable. I cannot handle making students pay $200 for a textbook. I won't do it. I just will not do it. Okay, so we've talked about the Zoom sessions here. So there's going to be homework as well. And I'm making the point here, homework will not be reopened under any circumstances. If you wish to procrastinate, there may be a consequence for that choice. So what I'm saying is, get the stuff done early. A lot of people tend to have issues. When do they have issues? Well, pretty close to the due date or due time, really. It's generally because they've waited too long to get things started and then they get technical issues and then I have to do something about it. Maybe I'm available, maybe I ain't. I don't know. I can't guarantee it. I can't guarantee I'll be there to help you close to the due date, close to the due time. So get the stuff done early. That's my recommendation. There's no reason to wait till the last minute. All right, so I'll talk about what you'll have to do in a second. There will be 4 tests and a final, and these will all be conducted or administered under HonorLock. Now, HonorLock, I do have a practice quiz down here. Where is it? Here we go. HonorLock practice exam. So that's what you can do to practice for it, to make sure you understand what's going to be required. You're going to have your ID, and you're going to have to be prepared to do a room scan, a 360-degree room scan before you get started. All of these tests are going to be closed book, no notes, but you are allowed to have a piece of scratch paper if you want it. Now, I'm just going to check something here. I want to make sure I've actually enabled the practice test. If I haven't, then that's going to be, let's have a look. You unlock practice test. Let's see if it's available. I haven't enabled it. Well, I better enable it. Okay. All right, I will enable that. So if you try and do it now, it's not going to work, but I'll enable it after we get done with the session here. Sorry about that. I had the suspicion I might not have enabled it. Does anybody have any questions so far? Anything so far? All right, let's take a look at the test materials. So we're looking at test 1 here. And what you're going to see at the top of the test 1 folder is your test 1 study guide, which will enable you to determine what kinds of things you're going to be asked about on the test. And then we've got the practice test that you'll be taking. Now this you can take unlimited times. Here's the thing. The test is exactly the same as the practice test. I'll say it again. The test is the same as the practice test. So, you know, it makes it really hard for me to see how anybody can fail if they've done this test enough times, closed book, and gotten 90% on it. How could you get 90% on this closed book and then fail this test if they're the same test? I'm just not seeing it. How do people fail? Well, they don't do it. It's really that simple. It's kind of funny. Occasionally, I get people who don't even do a practice test. That's craziness. That is craziness right there. That's insanity. The other thing is you get 5% of extra credit by getting 80% on the practice test. So do it enough times, get 80%, pick yourself up 5 extra points. Not doing that is insanity, in my opinion. Does anybody have any questions so far? So it's a test 1 that's done under Honorlock. This one isn't done under Honorlock. You know, you do that as many times as you need to do it. What's more, you don't have to take it on a certain day. You just need to take it by a certain day. So you have all of that flexibility of when to take it. You can take it whenever you like, as long as it's before the due date. So let's take a look at due dates here. They're back in the syllabus. So this Sunday, we've got Module 1 assignment, Module 1 credit quiz, Module 2 assignment, Module 2 credit quiz, and those will be available until Sunday at 11:59 p.m. So those do need to be done by Sunday. You can see that the practice test for extra credit closes on September 8th. The practice test will still be open though, but you won't be able to get extra credit on it after September 8th. And then your test will be due September 9th. You do not have to take it on September 9th. In fact, the smart play would be to take it early and see if you need to get this extra credit to push you over the line. That's how I would do it. But if you wait that last day, you won't have the chance to do that. So you can see when all the homework closes, this is all homework that we're doing here, Module 3, Module 4, and those close, you know, we've got something going on every week here. So I have a Zoom session going on each week before that as well. So they're all on Friday and the stuff's due Sunday. So you can see we've got one next week, the week after. Then after that, so this is for Module 3, this is for Module 4, that's for Module 5. You've got 2 weeks to do Module 5. I'm not suggesting you should wait till the last minute to do Module 5 though. It's a long module. That's why you get 2 weeks for it. Same with Module 6. But I will have Zoom sessions before the due dates on those. but you can still ask me questions during those 2 weeks. I really do want you to get that stuff done as quickly as you possibly can, or as early as you possibly can. All right, let's go back to test 1 here. So let's take a look at module 1, just so you can get an idea of what you'll need to do. My recommendation, use the soft chalk. Let's open the soft chalk, take a squiz at it. So what's the soft chalk here? It is a whole bunch of stuff that you're seeing in the survival guide, along with interactive exercises that test your understanding as you go. Well worth a look. Well worth a look.
Do you know if these are graded?
Well, they're graded, so you can at least get an idea of how you're doing with it, but the grade doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so you'll get a certain number of points at the end, and you can look at that and say, well, maybe I need to go do this again if you wanted to. But this is by far, I think, the best way of handling it, because sometimes I've got video links in here as well. So if you don't understand something, you can always watch the video. Let's see if I can find one with the video here. Yeah, there's one. So there's a video here, for example, on here that you can watch. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, so the soft chalk, that would be that's kind of like your textbook in this course, if you will. That's what I would be doing. I wouldn't stop. All right. Let's see what else we've got. We've got the module 1 assignment, and then there's a practice quiz, and then there's a credit quiz. Now, your view is going to be a little different. This is my view. I'm going to go in as a student so you can see this, but keep in mind there is a credit quiz there. I'm going to view this as a student, see what you see. So what you'll see is the assignment. You can do this multiple times, well, unlimited times, and you know, it takes the highest grade. It doesn't show you what the right answers are though. However, there is a video answers to the module 1 assignment here. So if you're having trouble with the assignment, you can always watch the video that has the answers to the assignment. It just shows you how they're set out and how I get the answers. All right. Then you've got this practice quiz down here that you'll do. Now the practice quiz is the same as the credit quiz, except different numbers, etc. You need to get 80% on the practice quiz to open the credit quiz. The reason I do that is so that you can get an idea of the formatting, so you know what answers are going to be expected and what formatting I'm expecting for the answers. Does anybody have any questions? So you'll do that, and once you get 80% on it, the credit quiz will appear. You get 2 attempts at that, and it takes the higher of those 2 grades. Does anybody have any questions? So that's what you'll have to do by Sunday, is the module 1 assignment, the module 1 credit quiz, and then the module 2 assignment and the module 2 credit quiz. Those are all due on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. I can promise you the stuff here in modules 1 and 2 is not very difficult. It isn't. All right, you won't need that much help with it. It's a really good start though to get you going into the course though. Does anybody have any questions at all about what they need to do here?
For module 2, is it the same like format as
Mhm.
module 1 with the
Yeah.
questions?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you'll also have the video as well for your assignment. So during these Zoom sessions that I have on the Fridays, you know, I'll be going over that for each module as well, but for every module, the formatting is pretty much the same. It's all organized pretty much the same way. Soft chalk, assignment, practice quiz, credit quiz. Now for module 3, there's one extra quiz you need to do, a significant figures quiz. But again, you know, I'll talk about that during the Zoom session next week. And then, of course, you have to be aware of the test. Just practice test. Do the practice test again and again and again. Close book. Get the highest score you can, and then attempt the test. I honestly don't see how it can be problematic. It's the same test. Numbers will be different, compounds will be different, but the test will be the same. Yeah. Zabe.
I know that this is a weird question. I know this
No,
is
no.
chemistry, but is there any math in this class? Do we
Yeah,
need a calculator?
you will need a calculator, yeah.
Okay, I have one. I just wanted to.
Right. Now you need a
just
scientific,
significant figures.
it needs a
Okay.
scientific calculator, and it
Alright.
has to be able to handle exponents.
All right, I'll read the syllabus. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. No, it's okay. You can, have you got the calculator there next to you?
Yeah, I have a really nice calculator, so it's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that'll be good for homework, but during tests, let me show you, you're going to have to use the Honorlock calculator, because Honorlock can't distinguish between a cell phone and a handheld calculator. So you won't be able to use a handheld calculator. You can if you get an accommodations accessibility for it. Right. So if you're getting accommodations, you can talk to your accessibilities coordinator, and they'll add it to your accommodations, and they'll send that to me, and then I will allow you to use a handheld calculator. But everybody else will need to be using the Honorlock calculator. So let me show you that. Go back here to test 1. Is there a specific calculator I recommend? You have a TI-30XA. That's my favorite calculator in the entire world, Tristan. If that calculator was a girl, I'd marry it. TI-30XA. I'll go ahead and I'll put it in chat here. There we go. Oops, TI-30XA. Here we go. And Tristan, that costs like $10. That's all right. That's good, Zabe. But yeah, it's not a bad. I like that calculator. All right, where are we? Let's go back here. So let's look at the practice test here. I'll show you something. TI-84. Yeah, that's all right. TI-84 that's a good calculator. It's a bit of overkill though, Laura. All right, let's see. Did I not do that? Oh. I thought I had put the Honorlock calculator in the practice test. If I haven't, I will actually do that.
Good thing I asked.
Yeah, it's a good thing you asked, because I'll put it in the practice test. But it pops up automatically when you're doing the Honorlock test, but I'll put it here so you can practice with it. Let me see if I can get the Honorlock calculator here. Pull it up. You can pull it up too. Honorlock calculator. There we go. Let's see if I can find it. No, it doesn't look like I can pop it up here. I promise I will put a link in the practice test. I'm sorry I didn't. I really thought I had. I've done it for another course, I guess, and I just forgot that I hadn't done it for this one. My bad, but I will put the link in there. I'm wondering if I put the link, I might have put the link. I'm pretty sure I put the link at least in the syllabus, if nowhere else. So let's go take a look at the syllabus. Pretty sure it's there. Not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it's there. So there it is. I got it. All right, there he is. That's the calculator. So you can practice with that. I would bring it off to the side, sort of make a separate window, so drag it out like that. Come on, there we go. Drag it out, put it next to it, so then you can practice with it. But yeah, the link is in the syllabus, but I will also put the link in the practice test as well. But yeah, there's your Honorlock calculator there. It's not too hard to use, but practice with it while you're doing the practice test. That way you can make sure you understand exactly how to use it, and you can be confident using your, doing your calculations using that. Does anybody have any questions? Any questions at all? You know, did I? I think I just closed my window. Oh, I hate that. All right, let's see if I can open this back up again. Sorry about that, folks. I should have been smarter about opening up that window. All right. We're back in. Does anybody have any other questions so far? All right. Let me look. I'll just take one more look through the syllabus and see what else I have to tell you about here. See if there's anything you must know. Okay, let's talk about grading. So the final is cumulative, and it's going to consist of the same questions as you did on tests 1 through 4. So you can practice for the final by doing practice tests 1 through 4. There is no practice final for you to do, no. But you can, you know, the point of the final is to be cumulative, so it will just pick questions from those tests. You may exempt the final, but only if you've scored 90% on all 4 tests. Let me see. Khalid, sorry. I have a question. Do you recommend taking notes? And if so, which sections are best to take notes on as far as links go? That's a good idea, Lexi. If you have the book, I found it helpful to highlight directly in a text. And I don't know. Honestly, I'm not really sure about the notes. Khalid, you know, I find the best way to get through this course is just to practice those tests. Practice that practice test. And then if you're having trouble with something, go back, look at the soft chalk. And then if you're still having trouble, talk to me. The other thing you can do is talk to a tutor. SPC has tutors, tutor.com. You can get there through student services, student support, through the library as well. All sorts of different places you can reach for tutoring. If you don't want to talk to me, you can talk to the tutors. And they're SPC tutors as well, who are on tutor.com. I can recommend Elizabeth Kittle, Kittle. She's really good. She's a tutor on the Seminole campus, but she's also on tutor.com as well. She's excellent. But, you know, you can always call me. You know, I've got my cell phone there. You can email me, call me. I'm really quick about emails, really quick. I'm not going to let you hang in on the emails. All right. Khalid, is that okay?
Yes, that's okay. Yes, that's okay.
Good. All right. Let's see, what else was I? Yes, the final. You may exempt the final if you get more than 90%. Not an average of 90, more than 90% on all 4 tests. I figure if you're going to exempt the final with an A, then you need to have gotten an A on every test. That's how it works. If you get more than 80% on each test, you can have a B without taking the final. But if you do take the final, it will replace 1 lower test grade, and then all 5 scores get averaged, including the final, and that will determine your grade. So as far as the point distribution goes, homework is 300 points. Those are the module quizzes and the assignments. The tests are 140 points each. And then the final is 140 points, and it may replace 1 lower test grade. You've got 5 points of extra credit on every single test. As long as you can get it in midnight before the test is due, then you can have that 5 points, as long as you get 80% on the practice test, which you have to do anyway. I'll say that again, you need to do the practice test, so why not get extra points for it? Okay, so same deal, 900 points for an A, 800 points for a B, etc. Does anybody have any questions about the grading or the way you can exempt the final? I usually find that 1/4 to 1/3 of the class are able to exempt the final with an A. Sometimes, sometimes more. It depends on the class. But, what determines people's success in this class is not how intelligent they are. It isn't. It's all about whether you do the work or not. It just is. The work isn't that hard. It's really not that bad. What's important though is people just leave stuff till the last minute, and that's where they run into problems. I don't want that to happen. All right, any other questions at all about the syllabus? Let me point out something else here. I'm going to go back in as a student. And I'm going to go to grades. I want to show you the grades section. So the grades section, there's a lot in here. I will admit that. Your final grade here is going to be the sum of everything that gets added together here, but you can see what everything's worth. I like going to the grades to figure out what I haven't done and what I have done. So you should go here often to see, oh gosh, I got a 0 there. Probably means I have to do something. That's how I'd use the grade book. Now the other thing, I've got all the test grades in here, the bonus points, everything's there. The homework totals, they're all here as well. Let's see. So down here, the points you need to get an A in the course, B in the course, C in the course. Obviously, that's going to be irrelevant pretty much until the end. All right, so that's how you'll keep up with your grade as well. Does anybody have any questions?
I'm sorry, did I mishear you? I thought you said that you could exempt with an A or a B. Or was
You
that wrong?
can. No, you can. That's right. But if you get, let's say your scores were 80, 80, 80, 85, 80. That would mean that you had a B in the course and you could exempt the final, but only with a B. Now, there's nothing to stop you taking the final and trying to get an A at that point. And if you do that, you still keep your B. It can't hurt you. All right?
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Anything at all? So that pretty much completes what I wanted to go through on the syllabus.
I do have a question about like the periodic table, like how much we need to know about it or have memorized.
Actually, not a great deal. And let me show you why. Let me show you the practice test. And remember, the practice test is the same as the test. So you get the same stuff with the practice test as you get with the real test. That's why I'm not opening up the real test, because it's really the same thing. But I want to show you this. You'll notice that I've give you a periodic table in the actual test.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can also, if you can't see it or you don't like the size of it, you can always use Command plus or Control plus, depending on what computer you're on. And then that'll increase the size of it. If you're not liking the size there. I also give you a list of elements and symbols, so you don't have to memorize the elements and what their symbols are. I think that's what you were mainly asking about, Samuel, is that right?
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Yeah, this course, I'm not trying to get you to memorize a whole bunch of stuff, but I certainly do want you to understand what you're doing. That's the main thing. All right, does anybody have any other questions? All right. Does anybody have any Module 1, Module 2 questions at this point? I know a lot of you probably haven't gone through the material yet, and that's fine. I mean, it's only the first week. But if you haven't started yet, you probably need to devote a good 2-3 hours to it so that you can completely understand it and get the work done that you need to get done. I can't imagine it's going to take you more time than that though. Does anybody have any questions about modules 1 and 2 at this point?
I
Yeah.
just am slightly confused
Yes,
with
Mark?
over the when you're like looking for the amount of electrons in like every like ring,
Mm,
like particularly just like the lower rows
sure.
of how you
Oh,
find the
lower
number.
rows. Well, let's not worry about the lower rows at all. Because, you know, once we get past row 4, things will go crazy. So I don't want you worrying about that. We're only interested in doing the first couple of rows of the periodic table for that. And for this, I got this in the video too, I think.
It's just like I saw like a couple questions where like it asked for an element in like row 5 or row 7, like radium.
Not for, no, but it's not going to ask you, it's not going to ask you about, well, it might ask you valence electrons, that's possible. But valence electrons are easy because that all goes by the group. So if you're going to be talking about just doing standard diagrams, I can promise you this, there are no questions that go past 20 for doing the diagram, Mark. But there are questions about valence electrons and things that might include these lower elements down here. So if you go take a look at the soft chalk, this is where I go through it. So for something like fluorine, you can see there's 2 in the first row, 7 in the second row, but you'll never be asked for anything other than calcium for something like that. And then as we go through, I think actually, yeah, module 2, it goes through that, and here it goes through the valence electrons as well. The valence electrons are the ones in the outer shell. See if I can find the valence electrons here. There we go. So the valence electrons are in the outermost shell, and that matches or happens to match the group. So let's go take a look at the periodic table again. And you can see that the way it works out is we've got 2 here in the first row, and then we've got 8 in the second row and 8 in the third row. And this matches how many electrons we're going to have in each row. So for fluorine, we've got 2 in the first row and then 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the second row. That's how I know. And that's how we know the number of valence electrons as well. So for any column here, and we're only talking about this column and these 6 over here, we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that'll tell you how many valence electrons there are in each of these. That's the number of electrons in the outer shell. Is that okay, Mark?
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. Thank you.
Do you have any other questions about that?
No.
All right. Anybody else got any questions about modules 1 or 2 that they might have gone over yet? One of the harder concepts to look at here, I can't remember if it's in module 1 or 2. Now I think about it. I think it's in module 1. And that is, yeah, the ions that these elements form. So if you look at any element, and I'll take magnesium here as an example. If you draw it out, you've got 2 in the first row, 8 in the second row. Hang on, let me, I need to download the periodic table so I can have it here. Actually, I'll pull up the other one that's got the valence electrons on it. There's one below that, this one here. Let's just do that and I'll download it. For some reason, it's not popping up here. Oh, there it is. Okay. There we go. So there's our valence electrons here. Here we go. Will these Zoom sessions be saved for future reference on Michael's? They absolutely will, Melissa. They just might take a couple of hours to come up after the class, okay? So these are the valence electrons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Anybody have any questions about the valence electrons? So these here, these two here, these ones on the outside, they're the valence electrons. It makes sense that they're the only ones that can be involved in bonding, you know, in reactions. You don't expect any other electrons, just the ones on the outside. That's why they're important. Now, the thing is that all these elements want to be like these guys here. These are the noble gases. These are the noble gases. All these elements want to be like the noble gases. What's special about them is that they have full outer shells. Helium only has 2, but it still has a full outer shell. These have 8, 8, 8, 8, all the way down here. So magnesium, you've got to think, well, what would it want to do in order to become like a noble gas, in order to have a full outer shell? You might say, well, it could gain 6, that's possible, or it could lose 2, and that's what it will do, it'll lose 2. Now, if it loses 2 electrons, so you see it has 12 protons and 12 electrons, which means the charge is 0. But if it loses 2 electrons, like this one has, then now we're only going to have 10 electrons, but we're still going to have 12 protons. So that means there's going to be a net charge of +2. So magnesium would want to be a +2 ion if it turns into an ion. Does anybody have any questions? Now oxygen, so let me go back to the, so here's magnesium here, it's in group 2. So it's going to lose 2 electrons. I'm going to show you an example of oxygen over here. Oxygen is here. And let's see what oxygen is going to want to do. Now oxygen has 6 electrons in its outer shell, and I can show you that. See, it's in group 6. 6. So what it will do is, you could say, well, it could lose 6 electrons, but that's unlikely. It's much more likely to gain 2 electrons. So that's what it does. So it has a -2 charge. So it has 8+ and 8- before it picks up electrons. And then after it picks up electrons, it now has 10 electrons, but still 8 protons. So the net charge is -2. So you've got to remember, protons are positive and electrons are negative. So that's why we get the different charge here. The other thing is that then the magnesium can join with an oxygen. It can give up 2 electrons. The oxygen can accept those 2 electrons. And we get this ionic compound with Mg2+ and O2- joined together. That's MgO. So that's an example of how you can join those 2 ions together and how they benefit each other. All right, so that's probably one of the harder concepts that you'll deal with in modules 1 and 2. I do have a video about that as well. That's in the soft chalk, and it's also in the module 1 folder. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay. Does anybody have any other questions about anything? So what I'll say is for the Zoom sessions that we'll do in the future, it's probably, you'll get more out of the Zoom sessions if you've done some of the homework. Actually, if you've done all the homework, I think, or you've attempted it, at least attempted it. And then you can use the Zoom sessions to help shore up any weak areas or see if you can solve any problems. But it's best if you've done something prior to the Zoom session before coming to the Zoom session. This week, I understand, I mean, it's the first week, it's, you're trying to get your feet under you, trying to figure out the course and everything. But if you have any problem over the weekend, with modules 1 and 2, please let me know. I generally find though that people are fine with it for the most part. It starts getting much harder in the modules 3 and 4 onwards. Okay, any questions? Anything at all? Anything about the course, anything about the syllabus, any concerns? I think I got all the questions in chat. Well, all right. If nobody has any other questions, then I guess we'll leave it here for today. I don't treat these as teaching sessions. I treat these as problem-solving sessions. Okay. All right. Well, I do appreciate you all coming today, and I will. I'll be in contact with you. If you have any questions, send me an email. Call me on my cell phone. All right. Well, thanks for coming, guys, and I'll see you all next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You right, Sherry? You okay, Sherry? All right.